I have no makeup on, not made up. I'm in a fucking robe. I feel wildly uncomfortable because I like presenting myself some sort of way, but gotta give them the honesty sometimes. Got chai tea now. Since I finished off my matcha, I actually have a couple different teas. This one is vanilla chai black tea. I have, okay, I don't know if that was really necessary. I have a turmeric honey chai tea and a pomegranate blueberry. That must be good stuff. I was feeling some type of way prior to taking a shower. I took a shower, blow dried my hair a little bit. That's why I am not dressed at all. However, yeah, so I was feeling like I should just do a reading. I've just been having fun with it. So I have no specific message I'm necessarily looking for. So my angels, guides, ancestors, all the dead people I know that I interact with and stuff that are always looking out for me. This will normally come through. If there's somebody specific trying to communicate with me, let me know. Anyone who's trying to come up in this space just to fuck around, anybody with any like intentional negativity, you know, it's one thing if you're attempting to try to clear those things, but if you're trying to come in here with ill intentions, no you ain't, go away, you're not welcome here. I return all of your energy right back to you. You can find something else to do with it aside from be up in my space. The space is for healing and for peace and for sacred connection and for creativity and for love and for hope and for assurance. So any of the other stuff, any of that negative stuff that's in opposition to any of those things, you're not welcome here. Not welcome here. This ain't the space for you. Go find the space that is. Okay. But yeah, if there's somebody specific, there's something specific. I have the Magician in reverse that came out. Okay. So who are we talking about here? And that's somebody for sure. The Six of Wands in reverse. Is he my dad? I have a confirmation. The Ten of Cups in reverse and the High Priestess in the upright. Okay, so we're talking to my dead dad, who is dead in this life, but very much alive through me. Right? What is the message? Dear Pops, I never got to really meet my dad in person. He died when I was 6 weeks old, or so I've been told. But I never got to meet him, so I guess even that. So I'm not gonna take these. I'm not gonna take those. You're gonna have to say something else, a different way. I have always felt very close to him. just felt like he's like used me to finish what he had started, to kind of be him in this life in a weird way, to kind of, like, I mean, like, not just carry his DNA, but like, there was something he had started in his life, that he intended to finish that he didn't get to finish. And recently, I've kind of felt like maybe his death was part of the act, where it used to always kind of feel like, and mostly because of the way that it had been, like, communicated to me, that it was like an injustice, that it kind of like stopped his work. But the way that I felt more lately, I had this random like download, I suppose, that was that even his death was part of the work, and that I was tied to that specifically, and was meant to fulfill that. I've also had these weird sort of downloads about like him being sorry, and being very sorry about that, being sorry for that connection, or like what he, not just for not being here, okay, because that's been something too, and that's kind of been consistent throughout my life, like him just being sorry that he hasn't been able to be here for me in person. But more recently, it almost came like where like he didn't want to fully admit that he was sorry for what he set me up for. And not just in the metaphorical sense of like, oh, I set you up for a life without a dad. He died drunk driving. Or again, so I've been told. So it wasn't that. It was like there was this darker thing that it kind of set me up for, and like not metaphorically, like quite literally, in relation to my mom and perhaps his best friend, and perhaps my stepdad. Like they was all in cahoots. Like he wasn't just a helpless victim to what had been done. It was actually part of a ritual. I know that sounds crazy. That's because witchcraft is stupid. It is crazy, and anybody that's involved in it is insane. So like, I don't really know what to make any of these things. Generally, like, I mean, anytime I get certain stuff that resonates a certain way, I kind of just like, okay, like I'm gonna put that in the received box. But like, I'm not necessarily like jumping in to process that. Not even that I don't want to process it, because I do. It's more like, it just seems unreasonable. It's so strange to me, because there's always this constant feeling that there's a lot more under the surface. There's something that I haven't been told. I've been disillusioned. There's been an entire like underbelly that I haven't been made aware of, or like I'm keenly aware of it, which is what feels so weird to me. And that's what used to be preyed on, and why I used to feel crazy, was because I always felt like there was something more going on, and then was being told like, no, there's definitely nothing more going on. But like in my real life, like I've definitely realized that, like, and come to experience that like there is a lot of shady shit going on that I wasn't aware of as a child. So like that alone, like let's say it's just because I'm so sensitive. So like, you know, my parents smoked pot the entire time I was growing up. I didn't know that. They made themselves out to be strictly spiritual, strictly Christian. Like that didn't really seem to fit in with the, like they, you know, they didn't want that for us. They didn't want us doing that. So like it didn't really seem to fit the narrative. So like when I found out that they smoked pot, which they told me, that's how I found out. but like it threw me for a fucking loop. And it was like, okay, so what else were you lying about? Because like you so casually lied about that. You've been lying about it my entire life, and you made it seem so, you did such a good job of making it seem like that wasn't the case. And now you're so casually being like, oh, but that is the case. And they only made it like that because they found out that I was smoking pot. And so then like, oh, now we can all smoke pot together. Had I had, like I said, like in the last video, like I was always weirdly more Christian than the rest of my family. And I had dedicated my life to missions multiple times. And I was the one that was always very adamant about church and reading my Bible and stuff like that, to the point where like as an adult, like as I moved into that age, like it almost was like they were like, oh, we don't want to tell her certain things, we can't let her know what we're involved with because she'll judge us because she's so Christian. Like it was like this weird, where like they're the ones playing Christian and they're the ones doing all the judging, but like it just always seemed like there was something that my brothers and my parents, like my brothers were at least aware of, if not involved in with my parents, but that my parents were like involved in that, like they just didn't want me to know because I couldn't handle it, right? But like the older I get, the more it's like, dude, I can handle more fucking shit than half of y'all, so what's really going on here? Like, what are you trying to hide? Because that's what it is. And like the last time I was at my parents' house, like it was very much like, what the fuck are you trying to hide? Like I had said in the last video, like my mom was like posting all these old paintings of mine and stuff up, and it was like, who are you doing this for? What are you trying to hide? Like what are you trying to convince me of? Because if you're trying to convince me of shit, it's because you're lying, because there's something else going on. You're being manipulative. So like what is it? And I remember having like these dreams when I was like having fucking sleep paralysis and stuff, with my mom being the sleep paralysis demon. I kept having all these dreams where I was like, what is it? What did you do? There was one in particular where like I knew what she was done. I was referring to my grandmother, and I was trying to get it out of her to let her know that I knew, right? And so like in the dream, I'm like confronting her, and she's like trying to run from me, and she's trying to protect herself against me about it, and I'm like really laying it on her, but like she's like deflecting everything like a cartoon. And then my dad is like a fake Flanders from The Simpsons, which I never even watched, but like I know is a Christian character in that. And then like he's like, and he like kind of looks like my stepdad, and like in the dream, like my stepdad's like acting that way. It was really weird. I should do videos of my dreams, actually, maybe talking about random dreams that I've had, because those are quite revealing. Yeah, so what is this weird energy that I'm dealing with? What's the secret? What are you trying to tell me, Daddy? Just don't call me Daddy. Okay, but it is funny, and it's better that I'm in this energy. I get that you're trying to tell me something serious, right? Like a serious message here for me, but I'm gonna be lighthearted about it because I can already tell it's something extremely deep. Like I'm not gonna take this half a pack of cards. Can you please communicate with me more concisely? I know that's a weird thing for me to ask, because I don't tend to be the most concise person. I have no idea where I get that from, but I do. Maybe a few more of my ancestors can come in and help. Maybe your mom, like maybe my grandma can come help, or my Uncle Benny even. I don't mind talking to him. I really don't. The Knight of Wands and the Lovers. Okay, so we had this in my last reading. Okay, so that's what we're referring to. Okay. Tell me about it. What do I need to know? Yeah, I'm fine if the whole family gets in on this. I would love to like really understand what the fuck, to be honest. Three of Wands upright. Let's put these back in the deck these were just to let me know who we were talking to. No, it's a family affair. I got a lot of dead family. I got a lot of dead friends. So, you know, if everybody wants to be here, I'm fine with it. If you want it to be more personal, if you have a hard time talking in front of certain people, no, I'm videotaping this and putting it on the internet, so I think you're just gonna have to deal with it. I think you're gonna have to just open up and be honest. Let me know what we're talking about here. Give me some clarifiers for the Three of Wands, please. Please stop giving me half the deck. Maybe it's because there's so many people. I'll keep this one. This came out separate. Maybe it's because there's so many people trying to communicate. Maybe there's so many different things trying to be communicated. Okay. Okay, I received that. That we're not just talking about one thing. We're talking about a lot of things. Can we break that down? Can we talk about just one thing? Can I talk about just one thing? Can we have a starting point at least, maybe? Okay, hold on. We're gonna... This energy got real weird real quick. It's because we're talking to my family. Okay. Oh, interesting. We're not just talking to dead people or people that have long since existed. We're not just talking to angels and guides and ancestors. We're actively talking to the higher spirits, the higher versions, the higher selves of my current family members. Great. I guess somebody has to talk to them because we know they're not. Okay. Whole family. This almost flipped out. Almost flipped out facing up for a split second, but it faced down, so I'm going to keep it like that. Give me a couple clarifiers for the ones that are facing down, because I know I'm going to need it. For both of them. I have a couple. Okay. One more for the other one facing down. One more for that one. The one you just gave me. There's... Okay, fine. Ugh, this is a lot of weird energy. I don't even know what's going on. Okay. So these came out in my last reading, and the message that I got regarding them was that that's what we're talking about. We're trying to get more in depth about that message that was there. The Knight of Wands ended up being the main like protagonist, I suppose, outside of the Empress, and the Lovers was the main message behind the Knight of Wands. We're talking about the passion, the Lovers, that concept. When I asked for clarification about that and who specifically we were talking about, I got the Three of Wands upright. And I had it in a past reading, but it's resonating totally differently. It's reminding me of my oldest brother right now. Okay, and then I asked for clarification. 2 different clarifiers came out. I was already confused, and the way that they came out was kind of strange, so I asked for clarification on the clarification cards. 2 cards came out for the first one. I asked for multiple, but one came out face up, and it's the Nine of Swords. Okay, so since this came out first, I'm gonna turn, maybe I can move these so that they're a little more accessible. Okay. This is my Three of Swords. I mean, my Three of Wands. This is my Nine of Swords. Okay. So I'm going to start with this one, since this one came out face up. And I keep getting the Nine of Swords in my readings. And It's like somebody waking up from a nightmare. Somebody distraught. Somebody struggling to sleep. Somebody with all the, like, having nightmares. Somebody in a nightmare, trying to wake up from a nightmare, feeling distraught. Okay. Strength card in reverse. It still just all resonates like we're talking about my older brother. So I'm going to ask right now, what about him exactly? Why is he feeling this way? Why is this what's being referenced to him? The clarifier that I got in regards to that, I already asked the question earlier, I just didn't know exactly how to ask it, so I asked for the clarification. I'm getting down now. The Four of Pentacles comes out, and this card is wild. I haven't seen this card before, like this. Like I said, I'm pretty new to this deck. Okay. This guy's he's got his pentacle on his head. He is standing on two pentacles. There's one under each foot, and then he is holding the other one like this. Like, he ain't gonna let that one go, right? And, like, the other one's his crown, like, on his crown. These are all extremely personal pentacles to him, and he is, like, guarding them with his life. He's wearing a black cloak. He's got a small, tiny little throne. Like, he ain't shit. But he's got these four pentacles, and he's like, I'm holding on to these. Okay, the clarifiers for that specific card are the Page of Pentacles in reverse. Got this little guy in reverse. And the Two of Cups in reverse. Page of Pentacles in reverse. The Page of Pentacles is like an opportunity for material wealth. The Two of Cups is union, partnership, balance, community. Sometimes love, generally just union in and of itself, any sort of union, partnership. Okay? That's not happening here. It really seems, and like, this is... What I'm getting from this, and I have not communicated to my older brother, I saw him last year for the first time in 6 years, and we barely talked. Within 3 minutes of talking at all, he started an argument with me about fucking Budweiser promoting transgenderism, and we weren't even in disagreement, and he was just arguing with me, and I was like done with him about it. So he left because I was technically a visitor there, and the family hadn't seen me in years, and he looked like an asshole, so he left. He came back once he had cooled down a bit, thought about it a bit, and came to apologize to me just to try to make things like kosher while I was there so that we could like get back on with like the family thing. But the way he apologized to me was by coming up to me, everything's like chill. My other brothers talked to me, got me to come back out. We're just hanging out and stuff like that. Like, see, I'm meeting my nieces and nephews for the first time, most of them, because I have fucking, I think 14 now. And I only knew several of them prior to leaving, being estranged from my family. So I hadn't seen my family in a very long time, okay? For the record. I had been estranged from my family for years, hadn't seen them for a long time, hadn't met most of these kids. So I'm interacting with all of these people, right? My sister-in-laws, my parents, my brother, my middle brother. My older brother's being a dick, which is not uncommon. It's kind of his whole thing. He ends up leaving so that he can cool down, and then he comes back to apologize, and he comes up to me and he's like, I'm sorry that you feel that way. Which is like, did I feel what way, first off? Like, the fuck are you even talking about? You can't just assume how I feel. You didn't even let me say fucking anything. You just put me on the defense and then yelled about it and then left. But I didn't say that. Instead, I said, I'm sorry you think that's what an apology is. Because it isn't what an apology is. You're not sorry for shit. You're just saying that to try to brush over things and make things some type of... And I'm so sick of the fake bullshit. I'm sick of it. I haven't talked to you in 6 fucking years, and this is what you're going to do? Like, what makes you think I want anything to do with you? At all. For real. You had 6 years to try to contact me and be a real person, and you couldn't fucking do it. You've been mad this entire time. Mad. Like, really mad. Like, I've been able to talk to every other member of my family, even when things weren't so kosher, and even when we weren't when we were in disagreements, even when we're fighting. You're the one... My dad didn't talk to me for that entire time either, and then threatened to punch me the first time he saw me. So he's not much better. And my brother is just like my stepdad and kind of always has been. And that's always really bothered me and my other brother. But, like, he's just, like, been sucking my stepdad's dick his entire life. And because, to be macho, and macho is what's so important, while both of them are probably gay, to be honest. Just throwing that out there. I'm not trying to make anybody feel some type of way. I don't have a problem with gay people. That was what was so stupid about the argument in the first place that he was bringing up with the trans thing. I'm the one that doesn't have a problem with things. In fact, they had to sit there and have a whole conversation. They kept bringing up the trans thing because I had brought up my gender dysphoria and been talking about it a lot recently, and they thought I was moving in the direction of becoming trans. Like, that's how it even happens. So they kept, like, talking in all these weird ways about it because they thought I was going to come out as a trans man. Instead, I came out as a woman, which they weren't expecting, and that was very weird for everybody. But yeah, so that was the last time I communicated with this brother. So the fact that he's coming up in this reading this way, or that he's in my energy like this, is weird to me. And, the way that I tend to take these, like, I take them at face value. Obviously, this is a reflection of me more than it's a reflection of anyone else, because it's me doing the thing, right? So, I don't know exactly why I'm being told that my brother is feeling afraid, because the strength in reverse, like, he's feeling afraid of being found out. He's feeling like he's living a nightmare. He's afraid that he's going to lose these 4 pentacles that he's holding on to, specifically these 3 that he's holding, specifically this one that he's holding very tightly onto. There's all these weird secrets going on, like the opposite of unity and community and partnership, the opposite of opportunity for growth, material growth. And it's got him in a weird way. Okay, but what does this have to do with the Knight of Wands and the Lovers? In my head, I was just told that there's somebody coming to bring me union, to bring me understanding, to communicate what's going on. I have the Queen of Wands in reverse. The Queen of Wands in reverse. Here's the card. In the upright, she has a black cat sitting at her feet. The cat has a red collar, which is cute. It reminds me of this girl that I was staying with. They had cats. They had a lot of cats, but at one point there was 3 cats, 2 kittens and the mom, and the one kitten, Nemesis, cute little Nemo, little black cat with a little red collar. And that's just who that looks like, because the cat's mouth is open and she's being silly. Queen of Wands has a sunflower in one hand and her wand in the other. The sunflower is great. And, like, it's the same thing, like, the King of Wands isn't out here, but the King of Wands and his throne, he has the Ouroboros lizards, but then he also has the lions. He has 3 lions, and 2 of them are like this, where one of them, well, I don't know if the other one is a lion. He's covering it, but the one lion looks like this, and it would make me assume that the other one is also a lion. That's usually how they are. But they're here holding sunflowers, and there's sunflowers in the reverse. Black cat. Somebody's been messing with the darkness. Somebody's been doing dark things. Somebody's been involved in some dark shit. And somebody's coming to reveal about it. That's why he's on the defense. Because behind her, the ground goes from being yellow with mountains to being silver and more flat. And the yellow with mountains is, not the mountains, the yellow with the pyramids. It could be mountains, but I'm assuming they're pyramids for the fact that behind the Knight of Wands is the 3 pyramids. Moves into the silver. The only one that has the silver background is him being all defensive, the 4 of Pentacles. So she's kind of the transition between those things. What else? What else? What else do I need to hear about this? I'm going to move these cards a bit just for more room. Leave them like this because that is okay. So Page of Wands. There's a lot of wands going on here. Or at least they seem to be a focal point, for sure. The Page of Wands. He's wearing that Ouroboros lizard gear, the same as the Knight of Wands. He isn't the Knight of Wands, though. He's the predecessor. He is the predecessor, though. And yeah. And he's there with the 3 pyramids. He's actually standing kind of watching as the Knight of Wands goes. Who is this Page of Wands? Or what is it in reference to? Maybe one more. It seemed like I need to get one more. Who is this Page of Wands? Whoa. Okay, don't do that. Who is this Page of Wands, or what is it in reference to? Okay. I keep wanting to throw cards at me, and I will take these. The King of Pentacles in reverse, with the clarifiers being the 5 of Cups in the upright and Death in reverse. Okay, so we've got the King of Pentacles in reverse. You can see that card a bit. Here's Death. Here's the 5 of Cups. Shown. Reverse. Okay. The Page of Wands is the King of Pentacles in reverse. Okay. With Death and the 5 of Cups in reverse. Which is interesting because Death came out right next to the 2 cups that aren't turned over in the 5 of Cups. The man is looking at 3 cups that have spilt over, forgetting that forgetting but neglecting the fact that there is 2 cups upright behind him that he can still focus on, that's still valued. More or less. The fact that it's in reverse is kind of like a moving away from that. And the fact that death, is death in reverse too? I feel like death was upright and I put it in reverse. No, I guess it was in reverse. Is this one upright? I think I had the 5 of Cups in the upright and death in reverse. I haven't actually looked at this death card. It is wild. There's like a priest praying seemingly for forgiveness or some type of mercy. He's crying blood. There's a child looking up to death, and like an older child, or maybe a very young woman, that seems to be actively dying. The child isn't dead, but I think that the fear is, please don't kill the children. Don't take the children. There's a man quite dead underneath death. The sun is rising in the background. There is a very interesting type of flower that I've never seen on Death's flag. Death is a skeleton and dressed as a knight in all black. But it's in reverse. The message that I was getting at first was that, and from the King of Pentacles in reverse, I asked who the Page of Wands was, and then what is this in reference to? I got that the Page of Wands, which is preceding the Knight of Wands, okay, so I'll have to get to that, but that the Page of Wands is someone who had kind of been betrayed in this situation, someone who had an investment that was overturned, that was in part with the 5 of Cups being the clarifier for the King of Pentacles in reverse, like feeling some type of way because they didn't get what they were expecting. They didn't get the pentacle that they were expecting out of this. And either way, I mean, yeah, it's leading into death. It's death in reverse, though. I guess that, it's leading, it's like almost to, they become the Knight of Wands, like, in order to try to stop death. Like, in order to make up for the spilt cups. They don't want to keep looking at the spilt cups any longer. They want to bring justice. So instead of becoming death, they're becoming justice through the Knight of Wands, and in coming to tell the truth about these things. Okay, so hold on. I'm gonna put these back in the deck, okay? Because I know what we're talking about here. I get it. I had a dream about it the other night. I think I mentioned it in one of my videos partially, but essentially my older brother was pissed off and trying to start a bunch of shit with me for no reason. And it was for no reason, and he was like trying to set me up for these people to like fight me, and it was all so dumb because it was just for no reason. And I was like, what the fuck? And my other brother came to me and was like, trying to be the in-between for it, very similarly to how it had been when I was there, only it was like even more intense this time. So this has kind of been a common theme in our relationships. My middle brother is always playing the let me empathize with both sides and make everything, the peacemaker in that sense. But it's more just like, because because he'd do it with my mom too, where he'd be like, yeah, but you know how she is, you know that it's mom, and like she's our mom, so like just let her be that way, sort of thing. Like, oh well, you know how Doug is though. Sorry, I don't mean to say their names, but like, you know how these people are, so like, you know, just let them be that way, and you don't need to feel any way. You can just like, you know, I get you, I understand you, I'm here for your support. I used to take that as valid, and like believed my middle brother to be my best friend for years because of that, because he was always playing that role. And then when I became an adult, I realized that he was himself quite manipulative. He didn't really care about anybody but himself. And it's not that he doesn't care about anybody but himself. He just cares about himself more than he cares about anybody else. And like will throw other people under the bus if it means protecting himself, or will let other people die on his watch if it means that he's okay. And like he hates himself for it, but like that's just the role he's always played, and he has a hard time not playing that role and not then just asking for sympathy for it, very much like my mom. And you know, the last time I talked to him, we had a conversation about the abuse that I had undergone, in part at least, as a child, and he was apologizing for things, and I let him know, like, you know, I don't hold those things against you that way, you know, all of you, but like specifically you, like I've always loved you and cared for you. You were always close to me, and like I didn't see you as a monster for things. I saw you as a victim just as much as I was. And that we bonded, we were trauma bonded. And, you know, I've learned to understand those things more and more as an adult. And like, you know, it obviously affects you a lot more than it affects me. The guilt, you know, and stuff like that. And, you know, I would love if you could let those things go, just because I don't serve anyone. But this is all coming up, and like it came up in the dream the other night, and I remember being kind of frustrated because like he rushed to do that thing again, and I was just like, don't, you know, and like nothing's gonna save this situation. If justice needs to be had, it needs to be had. Let it be had. If you're not letting justice be had, then you're part of the problem, right? Okay. I got the 9 of Wands in reverse. I got the 8 of Wands upright. And I got the 4 of Wands upright. Separate. Somewhat separate. Okay, so the 10 of Wands in reverse. 8 of Wands. The 8 of Wands are trying to hit the 4 of Wands. The 4 of Wands is positive. It's like, it's a big part of it. You know, I don't want my negative feelings. It reminds me of my brother, and like, you know, all of these negative things to destroy what is to be cherished and celebrated. You know, energetically, there's a lot of forgiveness that needs to still be had. And I do try, even in the moment, like even right now, like try to forgive. But I don't forget, because it was always, and like, well, one, an elephant never forgets, right? And I have a weird memory of things. And I think that's okay. But it's like not holding that against anything. Like I don't have to, but like in part, like not forgetting also is like a security. That way, like I know to set my boundaries, because I haven't forgotten. Like I used to kind of put those things back behind my head, and like I would try to forget them, and like I wouldn't actually forget, but like I wouldn't forget about it, and would let those things go. And it was just a way to make allowances for things that I'm not okay with. So I don't do that anymore. It's not part of my forgiveness routine. Okay, Queen of Pentacles in reverse. What is this, the 8 of Cups? No, 4, 5, yeah, 8 of Cups in reverse. Interesting, I haven't seen this card before either. there's a guy walking away. It almost feels like he has, I know it's the Eight of Cups, but so like it's not denoting that he has a cup hidden. But because there's one missing in this structure, and like that would even it out, and because he's walking away the way he is, like it's almost like, what, does he have like a secret hidden cup? He's walking away from these 8 cups, which like the 8 is cyclical, and so like him walking away is like the sign of a new cycle. But maybe even in part, like he doesn't need a cup. Like he does have his own cup. His own cup is that he doesn't need any of those cups that were being handed. But it's in the reverse. The Queen of Pentacles, a balance and stability and comfort of material wealth. It's also in reverse. I walked away from my family and became estranged from my family. Not to my own detriment, it was to protect myself, but I did become homeless and remained, like I had to live out of my car for years because of having walked away from my family and not having their support. And like I'm looking at the Four of Wands and seeing it as like what I found, or like what I used to continue to like survive and thrive was my capacity. Like these are standing upright with no, like they're just standing upright. There's nothing grounding them. They're just standing upright, but they're very celebratory and victorious. And like that was what I did. My energy, like I didn't need the material wealth. And I didn't need the cups that I was being handed in order to feel that way. And so it almost seems like, yeah, like that's what it's getting at, is that like what my middle brothers, that's one thing, like he's been a lot more manipulative than my oldest brother, who's just like a straightforward asshole. My middle brother has always done things a lot more subversively, and his magic has always been like more hidden. You know, he plays the victim in the front. Like that's why this guy, like, you know, he's the Nine of Wands, and like he looks like he's like overwhelmed almost with them. He's definitely on guard. Those aren't even his wands. Okay, but he's got 8 of them directed towards my sense of stability, and that was always like the whole point, right? Like, oh, well, don't be strong enough yourself, and like don't have your own opinion, like, you know, just let these people be how they are and everything will be fine if you just let things just be. Like you're actually the one that's like making things a problem, like, because everybody else just lets these people be how they are. And it's like, yeah, these people are wicked, and I'm not going to just let them be that way, especially not to me. If you want to have kids and submit your children to that, damn you for it, to be honest, because like children are innocent and don't deserve that. There's a reason that I never had children. There's a reason I'm just crying in the shower about it, thinking about how much I always wanted to be a mom, but chose not to ever be a mom because I was not going to bring a child into this family. I'm not going to do it. There's no way. I mean, I've been struggling enough just to protect myself and my dogs, which I couldn't protect as soon as they were staying at my mom's house. It's hard enough for me by myself, so it's not like I could provide by myself for a child. But on top of that, even if I had all of those things, my children would have to have them, my parents, as their grandparents, and my family as their family, and like I'm not going to do that to a child. And my brothers just straight keep having kids. And this brother in particular, like, I feel like it's just completely checked out. Him and his wife both completely, absolutely checked out. Possessed. I'm not afraid of this. This is more just a metaphor as to how those things are working. And, you know, I think, like, can I have a validation that Seven of Wands. He's fighting off the other wands. These other ones are coming almost out of the ground. It almost looks, not out of the ground, but they're like out of sight. It almost seems like he's on higher ground and he's defending himself with his wand while all the other ones are trying to come at him. I can relate to that. Again, these are things that, like, it's not that I don't know these things. It's not that I don't know these things, but the validation, I suppose, is important. It's also important that, like, it's validated to me, like, I get it. Like, my spiritual team, you know, like, also is aware. Got the world with the clarifiers, the sun in reverse. The first time I saw this card, the world, it resonated as quite pleasant, despite the fact that it's like the 4 beasts of the apocalypse and a double Ouroboros. The sun in the reverse denotes some sort of negativity to some degree, but I'm seeing it as the opposite. I'm seeing the world this time is more negative, and the sun in reverse is positive. Mostly that I've had everything set to come against me, but that I haven't let that bring me down, even the idea of not being happy, not having, like, this child riding in on a white horse. Like, I haven't needed that to be sustained. In fact, that's what's so interesting too, is because, like, that's the alchemy of it. The double Ouroboros, the wreath with the red ties, red cross ties on it, symbolic of a cyclical cycle, a repetitive cycle, and if not an eternal cycle. And I have used that as my protection. Interestingly enough, that the bull's horn, just a tiny bit, is touching on that cycle. The lion's head is almost fully in that, but not overpowering it. Where those are symbols that have impacted me deeply, especially the Leo. The sun is also the sign of Leo. Yeah, but I haven't needed those things in order to be protected. Even in my complete vulnerability, flying around in the air with no clothes on, I'm still completely protected. And largely in part because I have a spiritual team. They may or may not exist, you know, the people in my head sort of deal, but they do. I mean, my ancestors, like my dead dad, like those people, they exist through me. That's how it works. That's how DNA works. So, like, you know, your beliefs about it might not be completely valid. My beliefs about it might not always be, like, the collective truth, the universal truth, but, like, there isn't a such thing. My personal perspective is the only thing that's valid for my personal experience. So, okay, can I have, okay, that's too much before I even finish a question, but thank you. What I want is, let me just have a little bit more about, I mean, you only brought up my brother, which I find interesting. There was nothing, my brothers, but my brothers, maybe that's part of it. I really have focused a lot on my mom, and then more recently have really started to understand my stepdad's role in things. And I guess this is just a revealing of my brothers also. It has been my whole family. It's also been other members of my family as well. Cousins, aunts. So, which makes me sad. That made me want to cry. Uncles, you know. Yeah, it's been a family affair for sure. Thankfully, once you die, you're kind of confronted with, like, the real reality of things. You don't get to play these games anymore that same way. So, like, most of my dead family is on my side. The live ones may not be, but the dead ones are. I know my mom's dad and I tend to have some disagreements. Him and his dad and I definitely don't get along. I'd sent that guy away. I don't want anything to do with him. There's actually multiple members, mostly of my mom's side of the family, that I don't want a relationship with. They can be wherever the fuck they are, and they can stay there. But like my mom's mom, I'm close to. My mom's stepdad, I'm close to. My dad, his brother, his mom. I have several friends that are passed that I'm close to. I had a very close friend that passed that I am not close to. As close as he keeps trying to be to me, I keep him at bay. For the most part, he's pretty powerful, so he comes around a lot, interacts a lot, but I kind of keep him in his own place because I just don't appreciate a lot of his energy, to be honest. It's not that I don't appreciate it. I don't. Maybe I need to work on that. Three of Cups. Just sign of like communion and celebration with friends. Page of Cups in reverse, which is so funny because the first time I got this in the reverse, it was like, because in his cup, he has a fish. And so in the reverse, it's like, get that fish out of your cup. Yeah. I guess that's the point of these types of readings, right? Is to focus on healing. These things are all things that I know, but the reminder of them isn't to be like, oh, look how bad these people are, and now I can remind myself of how bad they are. It's to remind myself of the healing that I still need to do. Okay. Right. So now the Seven of Wands comes out this time in reverse. I don't need to be so defensive. In fact, I have an entire team behind me defending me. I've been protected this entire time, like divinely protected. It's been crazy. I literally have had people try to kill me, and I have just had to have faith and listen to the messages that are given to me. I've had to move when I've had to move. Didn't make sense to me. Didn't know what I was doing. Didn't know where I'd go. I have always been provided for. It's been wild. It's been so wild, but yeah, I wouldn't be here if it weren't for my spiritual team. So I don't need to be defensive. They defend me. They're there for me. There's that smug little Nine of Cups. But it's true. It's true. This was nice. This was interesting. It's actually triggered a lot and given me a lot to kind of process. Obviously, I need to spend a little time in healing and forgiveness and just coming to a point of gratitude. It's literally right out of my mouth. I said I don't appreciate that energy, and that's the point. Everything is for our appreciation, and the alchemy comes when we do the work to figure out how to appreciate it. Everything is a gift. That's an old saying that I had made up, was that even if somebody gifts you a pile of shit, you can use it in a garden. So, you know, it's a gift. I don't remember how I said it. I said it a different way that was more like, you know, rolled off the tongue. But essentially that's the concept, that like no matter what anybody gives you, it's a gift. If your concept is, if your perception is that it's a gift. And that will make your enemies so mad. They can't do anything. Everything that they're throwing at you, you're taking and being like, oh, this is just what I needed. Thank you. But it's true. In the Bible, the way that it's put is that all of those who love, that, how is it put? Everything is good to those who love God. Everything is good to those who love good. If what you're looking for is always the best in everything, you're always going to see the best in everything, essentially, right? And like I said, like no matter what anybody gives you, if you're willing to appreciate it, now it's a gift. Oh, thank you so much. Be like, I was trying to destroy you with that and be like, I know I needed a little bit of destruction because I was feeling some type of way. It's all good. It really is important, and it's important to alchemize our realities. It's important to alchemize our experiences, rather, to create a sustainable reality. Because things will try to bring you down. And, like, even like that with my brothers, like, that's their own thing. You know, they're in their own thing. They're having their own experiences. I feel for them. As frustrated as I can be, as personally offended as I can be about things, like, it really isn't personal. They have their own lives. They're doing their own shit. That it's actually something, it's like sad, you know. It's sad that all my family would choose to be that way. But at the same time, had they not, I wouldn't learn the things that I've learned to be where I'm at. So I can be thankful. I can definitely be thankful for the ways that they are, and the ways that they've tried to destroy me, and the ways that they've come up against me, and the ways that they've tried to keep me down. Because it's actually only done the opposite. And it probably wouldn't have been that way had they not been people so extremely close to me. So, you know, everything has a purpose when we choose to put purpose into everything and to pull that from everything. You know, if you want to live your life believing that everything is just happening to you and that you're the victim of reality and that, you know, there's nothing good actually that exists and that everything's just pointless, it will be that. But, like, if you want to add love and creativity and power and grace, you know, into your reality, it will be there as well. And I don't know why you wouldn't want to do that. But I know a lot of people that don't, and that actively do the opposite, and they're miserable. They're really, really miserable. And like I said, like, that's not something for me to sit and be, like, haughty about and to sit here and gloat about. It's not something for me to be like, well, good thing I'm in some type of way and that y'all are suffering. Like, no, that makes me sad. I don't want that for anyone, not even for people that have actively tried to kill me. Like, I really don't want that. The only reason people have even been in those energies is because they are miserable. It's terrible. Misery loves company, right? And miserable people love making people miserable. And, like, that's so sad. It's just sad. It's so dumb. So I just hope that people heal. I hope that people get out of that bullshit. You know, if they have to keep throwing things at me in order to, you know, make sense of it, may I just be strong enough to take it and to alchemize it into something good. Because, you know, to each their own. I don't want to control shit. I don't want to, you know, my opinion to try to define anything or, you know, block anything or control anything. I'm not trying to be in control of anyone but myself. And even that, I'm more just trying to let go so that I can just enjoy my life. I really just want to enjoy my life. It took a really long time for me to get here to be able to just enjoy things. And it's like the little things that I enjoy so much. And I love that. And I want to keep that up. So, you know, thank you. Thank you to my guides and my ancestors for giving me the grace to receive these messages that way. For guiding me in that direction. For giving me these messages. Being able to pull these things. I mean, it's all just a matter of perspective. I could have read those anyway. That's the cool thing about tarot, is that it's not just like a book. Like, you can literally read however you want, whatever you want. You can pull whatever you want out of those cards. When you choose to pull, like, good things out of your experience, good things are then yours. That's how it works, and I even mentioned that in my last video too. You know, if you give somebody grace, grace is yours to give. So it's already been bestowed on you. It isn't like you get rewarded with grace. Like, you already have it. It's already yours. You just become reminded that those things are already yours. And so I'm thankful that everything I could ever want is already mine. And, you know, I wish it didn't take so long. I wish I could have appreciated things a lot more when I had them. Like my dogs, for instance. I get emotional about that because I think about it all the time. Like, there's no way to appreciate our relationships enough. You're always going to feel some sense of loss, but like, I really could have done so much more, so much better. But I know that now, and I can do better now. And life just keeps moving forward, so do I. Okay. Thanks for this time. I hope it was a blessing, and I hope y'all have a good whatever time of day it is. Just the whole day. I hope it's great for you, and that you have nice rest, that you have good dreams, and if they aren't good, that you can process them until they are. Yeah, make the most of everything. Leave everything better than you found it.